The twin moons hung low above the burning fields of Luminar. Once this planet had been a place of peace where dragons and humans worked side by side to heal the wounds left by ancient wars. Now the skies were red with fire. The wind carried the scent of ash and plasma burns. Captain Arlen stood at the edge of a collapsed ridge, staring down at what used to be his research base. He could see his people scattered, some helping the wounded, others trying to repair broken defense turrets. But it was too late. The alien fleet had already passed through, leaving nothing but destruction behind. Beside him, a young dragon named Serya folded her silver wings tightly against her back. She was small compared to her kind, but fast and gifted with empathy rare among dragons. Her scales shimmered faintly in the dim light, reflecting Arlen's tired face. "They came from beyond the rift," she said quietly. "Those ships were not from this galaxy." Arlen nodded slowly. "I know, the council said the rift was sealed, but they lied. They always lie when they're afraid." He turned toward her, his eyes hard despite the exhaustion. "We need to warn the colonies before the next wave hits." Serya hesitated. "The colonies will not listen. They never believed in the rift creatures. They called them myths." "Then we'll make them believe," Arlen said. He started walking toward the remaining shuttle. Around them, the surviving humans and dragons worked together in silence. It was a fragile alliance, born of necessity more than trust. Yet in the middle of that ruin, there was still a strange sense of hope. As the shuttle lifted off, the planet below flickered like a dying ember. Serya watched through the viewport. "Do you think we can win, Arlen?" He gave her a tired smile. "I think we can survive." Sometimes that's the same thing. In orbit, they saw it. Massive alien vessels shaped like dark spires drifting through space. They looked like living metal, their hulls pulsing with veins of red energy. Arlen's scanners could barely track them. "They're using phase shift technology," he muttered. "They can move through space without leaving traces." Serya frowned. "That is forbidden technology. Only the Elder Dragons ever used such power." "Then they've learned from someone," Arlen said grimly, "and whoever taught them wants humanity gone." Before they could plan their next move, a soft voice came through the comms. "This is the transport Aurora, carrying refugees from the southern outpost. We're under attack. Is anyone out there?" Arlen's heart froze. He recognized that voice. It was Liana, the biologist he'd loved for years but had lost contact with after the last evacuation. "Liana, this is Arlen. Hold your course. We're coming to get you." The channel crackled with static, then silence. "Captain," Serya said, her tail flicking nervously. "Their signal is fading. If we go after them, the alien ships will detect us." Arlen's jaw tightened. "Then let them detect us." He turned the shuttle sharply toward the source of the signal. "If we lose her, the last of Luminar's science dies with her." The shuttle entered the debris field. Wrecked satellites and burning metal floated like ghosts in the void. They saw the Aurora surrounded by smaller alien craft that looked like winged predators. Their weapons glowed with eerie blue light. Arlen activated the manual controls. "Serya, you wanted them to believe in the rift creatures? Then let's show them what humans and dragons can do together." The dragon's eyes flashed with silver fire. "Then hold tight, human." She opened the hatch and leapt into space, her wings unfurling in a storm of light. Plasma flares burned from her throat as she spiraled through the enemy formation, slicing through metal and flame. Arlen fired the ship's cannons in rhythm with her movements, the two of them moving like one. When the battle ended, only drifting wrecks remained. The Aurora was damaged but intact. Arlen's calm crackled again. "You never could stay out of trouble, could you?" Liana's voice was weak but warm. Arlen laughed, the sound breaking through the smoke and static. "Not when you're the one in trouble." Serya returned to the cockpit, her wings flickering faintly. "More ships will come," she said softly. "This was only a scout wave." Arlen stared out into the dark expanse. "Then we'll find where they're coming from. And we'll end it." Serya looked at him curiously. "You would fight an entire fleet for one human?" Arlen smiled faintly. "For one human, and for every world they'll burn next." As the shuttle and Aurora drifted together into the shadows of the outer rings, the first signs of movement appeared beyond the rift, a vast storm of energy twisting in space. The invasion had only begun, and somewhere deep in the dark, something older than any alien or dragon stirred from its slumber. The stars outside shimmered like a sea of frozen sparks as the small convoy drifted in the dark. The Aurora carried the wounded, its engines running low to avoid detection. Arlen's shuttle, smaller and faster, stayed close as a guardian shadow. Serya sat beside him, her scales dull with exhaustion after the last fight. Liana's voice came through the comm again, softer now. We've counted 30 survivors. The rest didn't make it. Her tone trembled, but she forced strength into it. The aliens, whatever they took prisoners. They're not just killing us, Arlen, they're collecting something. Arlen frowned. What do you mean, collecting? Energy signatures, she said. They target anyone who carries dragon blood or energy residue. Half the colonists here were dragon-linked through genetic therapy. They were taken first. Serya's head turned sharply. They are hunting us. But why? Liana hesitated. Maybe because dragons once sealed the rift. Maybe those creatures want their power back. Silence fell over the cockpit. The rift, the cosmic scar that divided the galaxy, had been dormant for millennia. Ancient records said it was once a prison for monsters that fed on life force itself. If it was opening again, then the entire galaxy would soon burn. Arlen stared at the navigation screen. If that's true, then we can't run. We need to find where they're taking the prisoners and stop them. Serya tilted her head. You speak like a soldier again. I stopped being a scientist the day Luminar fell. Liana's voice came again, quieter. You don't have to fight alone, Arlen. Not anymore. Her words struck something deep in him. He had spent years believing that the universe didn't care about love or loss, that survival was the only truth. But hearing her voice again, he remembered why he fought at all. The Aurora and Arlen's shuttle soon reached an abandoned space station, orbiting a dead moon. It was ancient, built long before humans learned to cross stars. Inside, glowing runes, pulsed faintly on the walls, dragon markings written in a language older than time. This place, Serya whispered, was a sanctuary once. My ancestors came here after the Rift War. They swore never to awaken the gate again. Liana and her team began setting up their scanners while Arlen explored the station's silent corridors. Every step echoed against the cold metal floors. The walls were covered with murals showing dragons fighting alongside strange humanoid figures. At the heart of the station, they found a large circular chamber. In the center hovered a crystal sphere that emitted soft blue light. Inside it, swirling images moved, dragons, humans, and shadows locked in endless battle. It's a memory core, Liana said, touching the controls. The hologram expanded around them, showing a vision of the past. A mighty golden dragon spoke, in a deep resonant voice. To those who find this message, beware the ones who feed on stars. They are the hollow, born from hunger beyond the rift. We dragons sealed them with our fire and our hearts. But the seal weakens as life forgets. If the hollow return, only unity between bloods, human and dragon, can fight them again. The vision ended. The chamber fell silent. Serya's scales glowed faintly. The hollow. That is what they are. They feed on energy, on souls. They consume and become stronger. Arlen looked at her. Then they'll go after every colony with dragon-linked humans. We're not just fighting for one world. We're fighting for every hybrid life in the galaxy. Before they could speak further, alarms blared through the station. Liana's scanner lit up. Incoming ships. At least 10, no, 15. They found us. Arlen ran to the control deck. Serya, get to the docking bay. Liana, seal the refugees in the lower decks. I'll buy you time. You can't face them alone, Liana protested. He smiled faintly. You said it yourself. I don't have to be alone. The first wave of alien ships appeared outside the moon's orbit, black and jagged like fragments of night. The station's ancient defenses came alive, firing streaks of blue energy, but they weren't strong enough. The alien beams sliced through metal like paper. Serya burst out of the hangar, her wings glowing with silver fire. She roared, sending streams of plasma through the void. The aliens responded with a swarm of drones that circled her like wasps. Arlen launched his shuttle to cover her flank. He used every ounce of skill he had, dodging through debris fields and returning fire in bursts. The two of them moved like one, man and dragon, light and shadow. On the station, Liana worked feverishly to activate the old dragon core. "Come on," she whispered. "There has to be a failsafe here." Her fingers brushed a sequence of ancient runes and suddenly the floor began to hum. The entire station vibrated as blue veins of light spread across its structure. Outside, Arlen and Serya saw it too, the station awakening like a sleeping giant. Massive wings of energy unfolded from its sides, glowing brighter than the moons themselves. Liana's voice echoed through the comms. "Arlen, I think I activated something big, like a defense network." Arlen smiled through the chaos. "That's my girl." The alien ships opened fire, but the station's new defenses retaliated with pure light. Beams of condensed plasma carved through enemy hulls. Serya dove through the explosions, her wings leaving silver trails behind her. Yet even with the station's power, the aliens kept coming. More ships warped in from the rift, endless and relentless. Arlen's shuttle was hit by debris, alarms screaming. "Arlen!" Liana shouted through the static. He coughed, smoke filling the cockpit. "I'm still here, but we can't hold them forever." Serya's voice came through, low and fierce. "Then we finish this the old way." She flew toward the largest alien ship, their command vessel, a dark tower surrounded by energy storms. Arlen followed close behind, despite the damage. As they neared, the alien ship's hull opened like a mouth. From inside emerged a being taller than any human, its body made of living crystal and shadow. Its voice trembled through the air. "You cannot stop the hollow. Your fire is weak. Your hearts will feed us," Serya roared, her voice shaking the stars. "You will feed on nothing but your own fear." She and Arlen charged together, light meeting darkness in a blinding collision that tore through the void. When the light faded, the command ship was gone. The remaining alien vessels scattered, vanishing into the rift. Serya drifted in silence, her body dim but alive. Arlen's shuttle floated beside her, heavily damaged but intact. Liana's voice broke through softly. "You did it. You both did it." Arlen exhaled. "No. We just survived the first battle. The war is still coming." As they returned to the station, the stars beyond the rift began to twist again. Something immense was waking up, something that made even the hollow look small. And this time, humanity would not face it alone. The rift was no longer just a wound in space, it had become a living storm. From the edge of the galaxy, Arlen's small fleet watched as lightning arced across the void, and stars seemed to melt into darkness. The hollow were returning, and this time they weren't alone. The survivors aboard the station had spent weeks repairing what they could. The ancient dragon structure had become both fortress and home, a symbol of hope hanging above the dead moon. Within its glowing halls, humans, dragons, and alien refugees worked side by side. The alliance was fragile, but it was growing. Serya perched near a viewing platform, her silver scales reflecting the pale light of the moons. She stared into the rift's swirling heart. "It's awake," she said softly. "The guardian of the hollow. The one who led them the first time. It remembers us." Arlen joined her, his uniform torn and stained from battle repairs. "Then we remind it what it's dealing with." Serya turned her great head toward him. "You humans always talk of reminders. You cannot fight what devours stars." He smiled faintly. "We already did, and we're still here." Behind them, Liana entered the chamber carrying a glowing data core. Her eyes looked tired but bright. "I finished decoding the last message from the Dragon archives. It says the Guardian isn't invincible. Its power comes from a crystal heart that links it to the rift itself. If we destroy that heart, the rift collapses back into itself." Arlen leaned closer. "What's the catch?" "The heart exists inside a living construct," she said quietly. "To reach it, we have to fly into the rift." Serya's wings tightened. "That place consumes energy. We will not survive long inside." Arlen looked at both of them. "Then we make it quick." The plan formed fast. The humans would use the station's remaining energy to open a narrow passage through the rift's turbulence. Serya would carry Arlen and Liana through on her back, using her natural resistance to the rift's energy. Their goal: reach the core, plant the fusion charge, and escape before the rift collapsed. The night before departure, the station was quiet. Arlen stood in the hangar, watching engineers finish loading the small device that could save or destroy the galaxy. Liana approached, the faint hum of the reactor lights playing on her face. "You should sleep," she said softly. "So should you." She smiled, stepping closer. "Do you ever think about what happens after this?" "If we win?" Arlen met her gaze. "If we win, I'll take you to Earth. I'll show you the oceans. The real ones, not the training simulators." Liana's voice trembled. "And if we don't?" He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Then I'll find you in the next life." "I'm stubborn like that." For a moment, silence filled the hangar. Then she leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. "Then you better win, Captain." When dawn came, though on this dead moon, dawn was only the turning of stars. They took flight. Serya's massive wings spread wide, glowing silver blue as energy rippled across her body. Arlen and Liana strapped themselves into the saddle built into her armored back. The air vibrated with power as the station channeled its entire core into the portal generator. The rift opened like a burning wound. Beyond it lay a world of swirling clouds, floating islands of crystal and rivers of pure light twisting through endless darkness. It was both beautiful and terrifying. As they entered, every system screamed warnings. Energy levels dropped fast. Liana fought to stabilize the shields while Arlen held tight, guiding Serya toward the pulsing glow at the center of the storm. "There," Liana pointed. "That's the heart." It was enormous, a crystalline sphere larger than a planet suspended in an ocean of energy. Lightning danced around it, and at its base hovered the Guardian. The creature was unlike anything they had seen. It had the shape of a dragon made of shadows and glass, its body shifting and melting like liquid night. Its eyes were endless voids that looked through time itself. When it spoke, its voice echoed in their minds. "Foolish children of Ash, you sealed me once. You will not do so again," Serya roared, her silver fire lighting the dark. "You feed on fear, but I am not afraid." Arlen armed the fusion charge. "Let's give it a reason to be." They dove toward the heart. The Guardian struck first, a beam of black fire slicing across space. Serya dodged, her wings leaving trails of light. The beam grazed her tail, sending pain searing through her veins. Arlen fired plasma rounds from his wrist launcher, but they barely slowed the creature. It swatted at them like a storm tearing apart leaves. Liana's voice cut through the chaos. "Arlen, the core's frequency is unstable. If we match the detonation wave to its rhythm, the explosion will fold the rift instead of blowing us apart." "How much time?" 40 seconds if I stay connected to it." He turned sharply. "You mean physically connected?" Liana nodded. "It needs a living signal anchor. Someone has to stay here." "No," his voice cracked. "We'll find another way." She smiled softly, tears glimmering in her eyes. "There's never another way. You taught me that." Before he could stop her, she unstrapped herself and stepped onto the dragon's neck. The energy from the heart shimmered around her, pulling her toward it like a tide. "Liana!" Arlen shouted, reaching out. She looked back at him, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Find me by the ocean." And then she jumped. The energy engulfed her and light exploded outward. The Guardian screamed as its form cracked apart, shards of shadow dissolving into mist. Serya folded her wings around Arlen, shielding him as the explosion rippled through the rift. When the light faded, they were drifting in silent space. The rift was gone. Only a faint scar remained where the storm once was. Arlen opened his eyes slowly. "Serya?" "I am here," she said weakly. "The rift is closed. The hollow are gone." He looked around, tears blurring his vision. "And Liana?" Serya turned her gaze toward the stars. She became the light that sealed the wound. She is part of every star that shines now. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The void was silent, peaceful. Then Arlen whispered, "She saved us all." Serya nodded gently. "She believed in you and in me. That belief is stronger than any fire." Months later, when the Alliance rebuilt on a new world, they named it Liana's Haven. Dragons soared through its skies again, and humans walked beneath their shadows without fear. Arlen stayed there, helping to build what she had dreamed of, a place where no one would be hunted, no one forgotten. Sometimes, on quiet nights, he would stand by the sea, watching the stars reflect on the waves. The largest of those stars shimmered brighter than the rest, silver and blue, like dragonfire. And when the wind blew softly across the water, he could almost hear her voice. "You found the ocean, Arlen." He smiled faintly. "Yeah, I found it." just like I promised. Above him, a dragon roared in the night sky, not in grief but in triumph. The galaxy would remember what happened, the courage of one human, one dragon, and one woman who became light itself. And in that memory, hope would never die again.